Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Curran, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We are here breaking down the NBA Finals, Pacers in 7, and you can't teach that. Bada boom. Man, the people in the room, G Money Grant Mitchell. How you doing?
They call me G Money Grant Mitchell, Tanner, because I'm dressed like it today. Feeling like money. Going into the weekend, I'm excited. It's hot outside already. Don't like that. Probably not going to get cool going out appropriate weather until like October now, but it is what it is. I would rather be sunny and able to go do things versus caught somewhere locked up in a thunderstorm.
You got a Friday morning bowling league?
Very funny. Very funny. No, I'm going to say, when I bought this, which was probably like a month or two ago, I was out shopping. My girlfriend pointed out, and I was like, I never would have bought something in that color for myself before, so I'll try it. And I wore it out, and we got a couple of good pictures in it. So I don't know. I'm rocking it. Seeing if I can get used to it. It might not be my color forever, but I'm trying it out.
No, I like the color. Celtics green.
Championship. Oh, true. I shouldn't have worn it. I got to change now.
It's a championship color. Anyways, guys, we're talking about the NBA Finals, Pacers in 7. Grant, if you remember from the last show, I came on and I said, hey, take the Pacers 12-1 to win the NBA Finals. That's a gift. That's a steal. It's value. You got when the sports book gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade with it. And we're alive right now, 12-1. How could they give 12-1? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so 12-1. I mean, their odds for Game 7 are just their odds to win the title, and those at FanDuel right now plus 265. So if you don't want to take the risk, if you just want to cash out, you've already made a huge profit.
Yeah, so I put 100 on it. It's giving me a $307 cash out right now. So basically what it would have been to take the Pacers money line last night. So that is the good part about it. But I do think there's going to be a moment in Game 7 that's close enough where I could get a pretty decent hedge down and make about $500-600. So I'm hoping that's the case. But for that to be the case, obviously the Pacers got to be probably on a 10-0 run at one point and make this game pretty close down the stretch in the second half there. But I do believe, based on how these teams have played, there hasn't really been blowouts. I mean, besides last night, these have been tight games where there's been times to bet both sides at a really good price.
Yeah, in these playoffs, the Pacers have a net rating of -1, Thunder of +1. So they are 1 point different per 100 possessions. Like they have been right next to each other the entire way.
Yeah, I mean, I was telling my buddy this. I think the Pacers have outplayed the Thunder in this series, and he was like, I don't know about that. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's obvious the Thunder have the if we're measuring knockout power, I think we've seen the Thunder have it. Granted, the Pacers just obliterated them in Game 6. I think it's been evident that it's like when the Thunder get rolling, there's less the Pacers can do to stop it versus what the Thunder can do to stop the Pacers. But if we're just talking about who is played 51% better to 49% better, there's been more moments of that for the Pacers. Keep in mind, they were up 2-1 in the series with a 9-point lead with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter in Game 4, and they lost. But they were right on the cusp of going up 3-1. And if they do lose Game 7, considering what just happened in Game 6, they're going to be kicking themselves like, hey, we had these guys dead to rights. We were going to be up 3-1, and we let them make it 2-2 and then 3-2.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that the Thunder are very one-sided in SGA. Like they need SGA to perform. And I know he had 21 points last night. It wasn't a great night from him. He was very bad with the turnovers. And when you looked at the box score from like a shooting perspective, the Thunder were efficient when they actually got shots off, but they just turned the ball over like crazy. That was their biggest issue. But if SGA is not leading the charge for the Thunder, they have a hard time. Where we've seen it with the Pacers, Tyrese Haliburton doesn't have to be that guy. It can be Pascal Siakam. Hell, it could be TJ McConnell. Like he's had more moments than Alex Caruso has had in this series. So it's been really fun to watch just this entire well-rounded Pacers team going at it, especially with nothing to lose last night in Game 6.
I agree with everything you said. I just want to start the show out by saying this. The Thunder need to be so just embarrassed by what they did. They disgraced themselves in Game 6. And if they win the title, cool. That'll be great for them, but I'm never going to lose that sour taste in my mouth. J-Dub was a -40 in this game. He went from 40 points to a -40. Shai looked totally uninterested. He looked like he didn't want to be there. Chet Holmgren, that guy who I have defended so much. He's currently on pace. If the finals ended right now, he would have the lowest field goal percentage in a finals by a starting center ever. None of them looked like they wanted to be on the court in game 6. And I get it's on the road. It's not as cool to win a title in front of your fans. But you know what? If you have a chance to do that, to win your first franchise's first title ever since they relocated to OKC, your first title as a pro, and for Chet, your second year basically, go out there and get the job done. They were sleepwalking through that game. It was embarrassing.
To the crowd on Twitter that says the Thunder intentionally lost last night because it was game 6 and they want to finish game 7. That is the most ridiculous, craziest argument out there. And there's a lot of people that do say that. You go back to the Boston Celtics game 4 last year in Dallas. Yeah, they could afford to let one slide. They weren't losing that series. Game 5, find a way to finish it at home, obviously. But again, I don't think they went into game 4 saying, hey, we're not going to win tonight. It was just the Mavericks didn't want to go down on their back in front of their home crowd. Last night was a game where the Thunder just totally didn't show up at all. Pacers really didn't want to go down in front of their home crowd, and they still know that they're very much alive in the series. But the Thunder did not show up to a point where they were doing things that they hadn't done all season. Those turnovers last night were indescribable. It just came down to hustle and effort. The Pacers were just outplaying them throughout the entire night in every phase of the game.
Tater, as far as field goal percentage in game 6, the Pacers 41%, the Thunder 42%. So to what you were saying, the Thunder shot more free throws, made more free throws than the Pacers did. To what you were saying, the raw statistics of it weren't that different. It's kind of like when we were trying to figure out what had happened in game 1, because like the when you watched it, the Thunder dominated, but you look at the box score and it's like, wow, the Pacers actually had a better box score, and maybe that's how they won. Efficiency wise, these teams were the same. Edge actually goes to the Thunder. But Indiana's level of intensity, getting on the offensive glass, diving for loose balls. They forced 21 turnovers to just 10 for OKC. All the hustle plays, the effort plays, everything your middle school coach tries to teach you when you first sign up to play basketball. And they're like, hey, you want to be great. This is how you do it one day. This is how you make an impact. All that stuff came true. The bench players were great. The role players were great. Rick Carlisle was great. It was just a total team effort and team domination.
And the even scarier thing is the fact that the Pacers only had like 13 points off turnovers last night, which it feels like it should be a lot higher. They started pretty slow, especially when they were getting all those turnovers. We go back to game 5. The Pacers turned the ball over 23 times, which I believe was more than the Thunder did last night.
It was. Yep.
And they gave the Thunder 32 points off turnovers, and they lost by 11, and they were very much alive in that game in the fourth quarter without Tyrese Halliburton doing anything. So this Pacers team, as bad as they've been at times, they've still kind of set the tone a little bit in the series. I agree with what you said about the knockout power with OKC. Like when they get rolling, it's going to be tough for the Pacers to stop that, especially if they're not making shots and countering. Like early in the game last night, Pacers were setting the tone, but the Thunder were missing shots. Like that was a point where the Pacers can't go on those extended runs where they're not scoring, no matter how bad the Thunder are playing, because OKC can turn it on anytime. With that being said, though, this has been a series, I think, where you can look to and say the Pacers have been the better team consistently. And the scariest thing to me, if I was on the Thunder, which I'm not, but 6.5 point dog at home last night, Indiana, they're only an 8.5 point dog on the road. I would have thought it'd be 10.5 if everyone thought the Thunder were going to cruise to a victory, not 8.5.
And it's also been 9.5, 10, 10.5, pretty much every game in OKC so far in the series.
Yeah. So that's something to keep your eye on, the fact that the Pacers are very much alive here. And I would they have the momentum edge coming into game 7 for sure. It's not even close.
I want to give Tyrese Halliburton some credit here, and then we can do the plugs and everything because we haven't done the intro yet, basically. But I want to give Tyrese Halliburton some credit because he started that game aggressive, and he started 0 for 5, whatever, 0 for 4, 0 for 6, whatever it was. It took him a while to make a shot, but there was all this talk. Is he even going to play? We know how bad he was. Didn't make a field goal in game 5. He's got the calf strain, and he comes out and he's shooting the ball. And that's what you need, honestly, because in game 5, for the most of the second half, really his only job in being on the court was to stand at half court. Lou Dort was face guarding him, so Lou Dort had his back to everything. And Tyrese Halliburton's job was just to stand as far away from the basket as possible to let his teammates play 4-on-4. In this game, even though he wasn't making his shots early on, he told the Thunder, hey, I'm here to play. You're going to have to guard me. So when he was getting into the paint, it forced the low man to step in a little bit. That opens up a pass to an Aaron Nesmith or an Andrew Nembhard in the corner. They make some threes early in the game, and it's just this snowball effect, purely just because he shot the ball. Didn't even have to go in. I want to give him credit because he's not a very physically imposing guy. He was called the most overrated. People say he's corny and all this stuff, but he came out and he set the tone, and I want to give him credit.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So anyways, guys, FanDuel, Caesars, BetMGM, every sports book you could imagine. You can get a promo code for it on WSN.com, the World Sports Network, the greatest sports network you're ever going to find. Articles, information, betting trends, data, previews. It's all on the World Sports Network, link down in the description below. Grant, and then tell them why they need to check out the podcast and subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, Tanner and I have been here throughout every major the Olympics, World Cup, NBA Finals, Super Bowl, World Series, and we're going to be here for many years to come. So you got to hit that subscribe button so you're locked in for all the content that we're putting out. Also, if you want to support us, hit the like button. It does help us out a lot. It helps us get in the algorithms. And I mean, where do you want to go from here? What are we talking about Game 7? Just go right to it.
Yeah, I mean, one quick thing here. I'm looking at the 2025-26 NBA Finals odds right now. OKC already plus 220. That's insane.
So, okay, here's my question.
Fair,
if the Pacers win Game 7, do they? So right now the Pacers are 13-1. If they win Game 7, do they go to like 8-1? Is next year that heavily impacted by one game?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I mean, I look at OKC at plus 220. I think this is almost an indication that they're not going to win Game 7.
You think it's written in the stars?
I think it's written in the stars a little bit. I think you can look at that and say, hey, plus 220. That's lower than the Celtics started this season at. Like,
Cavs at plus 850 is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, especially with how they went out this year. But you see plus 220, and you're just like, that means they're going to be pretty hungry. That means bookmakers think they're going to be pretty hungry. If they were going to win, I'd set them at 3-1, 3-1, 4-1, because the repeat doesn't really happen. So I think plus 220. I don't know. I think that's showing that they're going to be a little hungry to get back and win it. And if they, when you win, you get full. So I'm assuming they're going to lose and stay hungry.
I almost forgot Tatum tore his Achilles. I was like, where are the Celtics? And then, oh yeah, there they are at 15-1. By the way, I was looking at it, and what I had said maybe 2 shows ago that I couldn't remember the exact report. I dug into it more, and apparently the Celtics have been getting just a ton of calls from every team in the league about Jaylen Brown and about Derek White. And they want to trade basically everybody they can other than those 2 guys. Like Porzingis, they want to trade. Drew Holiday, they want to trade. Sam Hauser, they want to trade. I think Peyton Pritchard's open for business. They want to keep Brown and White, but those are the 2 guys they're getting the calls on.
I mean, makes sense. Who would want Kristaps Porzingis? And realistically, I love Peyton Pritchard. Don't get me wrong. How effective is Peyton Pritchard going to be outside of Boston? It's hard to say.
I don't know. TJ McConnell and Peyton Pritchard are very similar players, aside from TJ gets to the mid-range, Peyton Pritchard shoots threes. But like the burst of energy that they bring and the fact that they're just kind of like their own system, it's very similar.
I agree, but also like you're playing with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. You should be okay. I know he's not on the floor with them all the time when he's playing, but man, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a big PP guy. I love PP. But we just don't know. Sam Hauser, Sam Hauser. I mean, I'm not calling anybody about Sam Hauser. And then Kristaps is like, he could have AIDS.
Is he even going to play basketball anymore?
I don't know. So yeah, I think they're going to dump Derek White. I'd imagine. I think when it comes to it, they'll dump Derek White. Especially
they have to. Yeah,
32
I was just about to say, people look at Derek White as this young player, and that's because he had like this weird transformation just in the middle of his career. But yeah, he's going to be 31 when next season starts. He's already been in the league for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This will be his 10th year next year.
Yeah, so he'll be 32 before Tatum gets back. And then you really got to count on 33. Tatum's got to do 1 year probably.
Yep.
And then one more the next year is when they can probably be back in a title conversation. Like 33 with Derek White. Like I'd probably get rid of him, keep Jaylen Brown. But that's just me. Anyways, Grant, we got game 7 to talk about here. Nice opening spread of 8.5, 9. It's down 8.5 now, but I think it opened at 9 on some places. Total set at 250. Nobody cares about a total in game 7. If you're betting game 7 totals, you got an issue. Grant, who has the edge in this one?
From a spread perspective, I would feel inclined to say the Pacers. I'm gonna take the Thunder to win, and there are two big reasons here. First of all, I'm rooting for the Pacers. Just want to say that I'm gonna take the Thunder to win. The fact it's in OKC, role players / bench players usually perform better at home, worse on the road. So that's both a positive for OKC and a negative for Indiana, not one or the other. Also, we do have to remember Indiana's best player is still injured. And maybe you want to say the best player in this series has been Pascal Siakam. That's probably true. But Tyrese Halliburton is in many ways the guy who at least is supposed to make the team go. Now, they've done a phenomenal job of playing as a team without him. But again, kind of factoring in the context that it's a game 7 on the road to win the world championship, if we're going to say that Halliburton isn't going to be great, like if he's just good or worse, and you need the team to carry you, as resilient as they have been, and they have been awesome, and I get what I'm saying goes against what they have done, but what the course of NBA history tells us is that Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard and Ben Shepherd are not all going to have good road game 7s at the same time. And I think that's a big thing. Also, Shai is still the most prolific individual player and scorer in the series. He was really bad in game 6, only had 21 points, but his points total's at 32.5. The second highest points total is J-Dub at 21.5. So the odds makers think the two highest scores are going to be on one team, and it's just kind of hard to fight back against that.
While I agree that the Thunder should win, I just don't know if we can go off the theory of NBA history saying that all the role players are not going to be productive in this game, right? Like even in game 6, when you're looking at Tyrese Halliburton, he made some big shots. He made the big threes at times. He missed some threes too. He had some good turnovers, forced turnovers, but overall, like the offense was not running through Tyrese Halliburton last night. It was running through multiple guys. So if you can bring that approach into game 7, I think you're going to be okay. Also, too, you saw like he wasn't pushing too hard off his calf. Like he was taking it pretty easy, jogging up and down the floor. I mean, he definitely was getting after it when he had the opportunity to, but he wasn't driving and trying to be physical. Like he was staying on the perimeter and trying to stay healthy. And I think that's something that we're going to get going into game 7 once again. He probably has to be more that guy. But with that being said, this is a do or die game 7. So I still think he's going to be okay.
The biggest thing for me in this game is turnovers. And I would love to go back and look. I'll probably do it when we get off, finish recording here. I want to know what is the record of the team that wins the turnover battle in the series, because I feel like it's 6-0. The Indiana defense, we talk so much about the Thunder defense. The Indiana defense has just been spectacular in this series, and it's not really gotten enough credit just because of how aggressive the Thunders has been at times. But in a game like game 6, where they take the ball away and they don't turn it over, they just do such a great job at all the other aspects of the game that the Thunder, if they don't get that, we know that they're better than any team in the league at forcing turnovers. If they don't have that advantage, Indiana has found a way to be consistently better than them. So that's something I'm keeping my eye on.
Yeah, same here as well. It's going to come down to, I think, I can't say it's going to come down to which star plays better, because I'm always going to give that to SGA. I truly think SGA is going to show up in this game. But I think it comes down to momentum. And I just feel like what the Thunder did in game 6 puts them at a massive disadvantage going back home in game 7. This is a team that has not done it before. This is a team that had an early exit from the playoffs last year. Like, we're not dealing with a bunch of veteran superstars here. We're dealing with guys that have not gone through this process before. So on the Pacers side, a lot more playoff experience, a lot more experience overall. And I think they're not going to be rattled by OKC. I really don't. And again, you need Obi Toppin or you need TJ McConnell. You need these role players to perform to some capacity. Obviously, you're not going to get what you got from Game 6, but you don't necessarily need that. You need your stars to step. You need Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton to score, and you need the other guys to force turnovers and play hard defense. If you do that, you put yourself in position to win the game.
I want to take you back to, I believe, November, December, somewhere around there. NBA Cup. Milwaukee Bucks, OKC Thunder. Thunder are decent favorites, if I remember correctly, 6.5 points, something like that. They lose 97-81. Leading scorer in that game is SGA. Scores 21 points, which is what he just had in Game 6, on 33% shooting. Nobody else gets to 20 points. The team as a whole shoots 34% from the field, 16% from three. And that was a moment where it was like, hey, they're a young team. This isn't the real championship, but who knows? Maybe 20 years from now, the NBA Cup is actually revered as something of importance. And it's like, okay, they got to that stage, big stage, inexperienced, young team, they collapse. Depending on what happens in Game 7, there's going to be a really steep narrative swing, whichever direction. Because if they lose this, it's like we've seen them now twice in those championship stages. Both times they're expected to win, didn't come close to delivering. If they win this, it becomes because they got that experience in the NBA Cup. They felt like what it was like to lose and the pressure and the expectation. They then took it and they were able to bounce back and win in Game 7.
Well, it's the Celtics. I'm like watching the Celtics kind of not dynasty because it hasn't really been a dynasty, but it takes time. Like it takes time to get over the hump and you're going to lose big games. And SGA right now has all the pressure. This is not a team game for OKC. Like, it's not going to be Jalen Williams. It's got to be SGA. And it's like you saw it last night. SGA was still the main guy. He turned the ball over a little too much. Everyone turned the ball over, but SGA has got to set the tempo here. If he does not set the tempo, they're in trouble. So all this game, all the criticism, like that falls back on him because if he doesn't have a good game, they're not going to win. If he has a good game, puts themselves in a really good position to win. It doesn't mean they will win, but he needs to be the one to have the good game. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that because he has not been in this spot either. Like we're calling SGA the greatest thing ever. He has not been in this spot. Like Jason Tatum done a lot more at his time and at this point in his career than SGA has.
I've seen a lot of people putting out these lists, and I wish I could remember who. It's just been a lot of the big name companies and brands, and it's something like our basketball writers were asked if SGA wins this title, where is he among all-time point guards? And I've seen him at like number 6. And it's like, first of all, can we just let the series finish? Because if they win Game 7 and he scores 6 points, what credit? If they lose and he scores 55, are we going to hold that against him? He's also 26 years old. What if he wins? What if he loses this one and wins 7 more titles? Or what if he wins this and then he never gets back? Let's just pump the brakes. Let's let things happen instead of trying to microwave it.
He's such a free throw merchant though. Like realistically, I know he shot 14. Game 5, Game 6. So how many did he didn't shoot that many last night.
He shot 8 last night.
All right. They let the boys play last night. The refs went in there
even 2 of his free throws. There was one, I think Obi Toppin got called for the foul, and Shai didn't get touched. It's remarkable. And I've said this before. I'll let you get to your point. Sorry for interrupting you, but Shai does get fouled. That's the thing. The level of contact that's required to get him to the free throw line versus like a LeBron, a Giannis, literally any other superstar, they would be shooting as many, if not more, free throws than Shai is.
Yeah, and I know they had the one on Hartenstein where like they had to go to the replay and it came back. Like there were some calls that were like, but for the most part, like I saw some plays with Shai last night that usually they would call those free throws. They weren't calling everything last night, and it was getting in his head. He looked a little more like Tatum last night. It was like instead of running up the floor, we're going to complain a little bit about the calls. He also had a play early in the game where he literally stuck his forearm in, I forget whose chest, and Nemhard's chest, and like clearly a foul, offensive foul. They didn't call that either. So like they let the boys play a little bit last night. And if you do that, I think that just takes Shai out of his comfort zone.
So in this series, Tanner, in these finals, Shai shoots 8 free throws or less. The Thunder are 0-3. Yep. He shoots 10 or more. They're 3-0.
That's why he's a free throw merchant.
I can't believe some of the stuff. Like, okay, we can have the conversation about him getting the free throw line, whatever. He has offensively fouled Andrew Nembhard so many times in this series. He puts the arm up and he like elbows him in the neck and pushes off. And they've called it one time. Every other time they've let him get away with it. And that's crazier to me than the foul baiting. He's clearly elbowing his defender in the throat and they're not stopping him.
They're going to make that call in game 7 in a big spot, and it's going to hurt the Thunder.
So I don't know what your takeaway is on the finals MVP, which we can start to transition into.
We didn't give a pick, Grant. We didn't give a game pick yet.
Oh, okay. Let's go for it. Well, I said Thunder on the money line. I'm not going to bet them on the spread. No way in hell I would take them at -8.5. Granted, if they're up by 3 with 30 seconds left, they could still cover 8.5 because Indy's just going to be fouling them. But I would pick the Pacers at +8.5, but I'm not. There's no way I'm betting it.
So my question to you is, what's the score going to be going into the fourth quarter? That's the bigger question here. Like, do we get game? Let's see. Is it going to be like a game 2 at OKC where they controlled it? Is it going to be like, even game 5 in Oklahoma? It was still like Pacers were only down 5 points going the fourth quarter. It could have gone either way, but OKC is still in the position to win there. Like,
I'm going to say going into the fourth quarter, it's 82-77 OKC.
Okay. I think the Pacers are going to come out and win the first quarter.
Like I said, I want the Pacers to win it just because they are, not that the Thunder can't be fun to watch, but I've been frustrated with their players versus I've been very impressed by the Pacers players, not just in the series, but over the course of the whole playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like last night, just a black stain on what the Thunder have done so far in the playoffs. You go on the road in a game that you have to win realistically because you don't want to force game 7. You don't want this series going 7 because this is where the Pacers are the most dangerous in these situations where nobody's expected anything out of them. Like last night, I forget who it was, but basically they were saying the Pacers have just done things to blow our minds throughout this entire tournament and throughout the entire playoffs. Like, you really don't think they can win a game 6 at home? Like game 6 at home should be nothing.
In game 7 too, take the Pacers out of it. It could be anybody. Game 7s are so weird because they don't have to follow the traditional script. I don't think it was a game 7, but it was in the finals when the Nuggets were playing the Heat. There was a game where Bruce Brown scored 20, and that won them the game. There's a game where Christian Brown, who's now a starter, but he was a rookie coming off the bench at the time, he scored 20, and that won them the game. There was when Wade and Bosch and LeBron were in Miami, there was a game where Shane Battier scored 25 in a game 7, and that won them the game. Aaron Wiggins could win the finals for the Thunder here. Obi Toppin could win the finals for the Pacers here. It's a one-off. All this stuff we talk about, how like the NBA gets it right in the sense that because it's a best of 7, the best team wins every time. That's out the window. This is just one single game, and anything could happen.
Here's the stat, Grant, right here before we talk about finals MVP. Teams down 3-2 that won game 6 of the NBA finals in the last 20 years comes from Nate Duncan on Twitter. 2025 Pacers, obviously winning last night, but the 3 teams before that, 2010 Lakers, 2013 Heat, 2016 Cavs, all went on to win game 7 of the NBA finals. So if you win game 6 in the past 20 years, only 3 teams before last night have done that. They've won the whole thing. I know it's a small sample size, but still something to note.
So I want to see. I wish I could. I got to do some research here. I want to see. I know the Cavs were on the road, obviously, because that was the 3-1 year. I want to see how many of these teams were actually on the road. So
like one game 6 on the road. I mean, winning game 6 on the road is probably harder than winning game 7 on the road.
Wait, so it was 2010. Right. So the Lakers. Okay. So the Lakers were at home for that one.
At home in game 6 or home in game 7?
The Lakers were at home in game 7.
Okay.
We had the Heat and the Spurs. I believe the Heat Yeah, the Heat were also at home. So that's 2 home teams, 1 road team in game 7. Pacers are going to be on the road.
I can make the case, though, that it's much harder to win game 6 on the road than it is to win game 7 on the road.
I would definitely agree with that.
100%. I mean, yeah, once you get to game 7, a little easier to take it at home after winning game 6 with all that momentum. But going into game 6 on the road, knowing you're down 3-2, that other team knows they got to win that game. Like, that is a do or die must win game for you. On the flip side, now it's like game 7, they've won in OKC. They can do it again. They got all the momentum coming into that. So I think it's much harder to win that game 6 on the road.
Also, I know the final score was 108-91, 17-point game. I'm calling it a 30-point game because it was it was 90-60 at the end of the third when the starters came out. So I'm calling it a 30-point win. This isn't like game 3 of the second round or a regular season game even where, hey, we just got blown out. We're pissed off. We're going to come back and give them our best bet. Now, you've been trying the entire time in the finals. If anything, the Thunder are going home scared because I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying they cannot be going home confident and saying we're going to use this anger to fuel us. They're looking at it like, wow, look what they just did. And now we have to win. We're under pressure under our home fans versus the Pacers. Like, we just smoked these guys by 30. We can beat them.
And again, I know I go back to the Boston Celtics all the time. This is not the Celtics. Like, I would say if the Celtics lost game 6 in this fashion, went back home in game 7, no sweat. It is what it is. We've lost in the finals. We've lost finals where we should have won those. We've won a finals. We've got experience across the board. We've got Tatum's been playing in playoff games since he was freaking 16 years old. Like, they have that experience. OKC doesn't have that. So we're going to see how they respond.
Yep. And also, this is also a smaller part of it. I don't know if this plays into it at all. I'll be completely honest. But Tyrese Halliburton, although he didn't play, he was at the Olympics with a gold medal USA team. Just the simple fact we're talking about 2 young teams here who don't have much experience. If there was big stage international experience of any kind, Shai is, Canada, and Lou Dort is Canada, and Chet wasn't on Team USA, and Jada wasn't on Team USA. Anything you can pull. They didn't play for championships in March Madness. Like, if you're trying to find any sort of experience, there's just none to find in those big games aside from that NBA Cup.
Where did SGA go to school?
Kentucky.
Okay, so
it was a big school, but they didn't go on a run when he was there.
And then all Chet did was just lose. That's all. Yeah. He's known for losing in the tournament. All right, Grant, finals MVP here. SGA, obviously, if the Thunder win, it's going to be SGA. It has to be SGA. Odds pretty clearly Pascal Siakam. If the Pacers were to win it, I think he deserves it. Then Jalen Williams 10-1, Tyrese 15-1. Like, for Tyrese to win it, it's probably worth a sprinkle, but he would have to put together a masterclass in game 7, I think, to jump that. And then after that, you're not going to give it to TJ McConnell or Obi Toppin.
Which sportsbook are you getting these from?
FanDuel.
Okay. I was just asking because I've got like 5 different ones pulled up in front of me. Yeah, so I've seen some articles when I was Googling trying to find the odds earlier. I've seen some articles of people saying that J-Dub is the value bet. And like, I get why you would say that, but it's not true. He's not going to win it if the Thunder win, because if the Thunder win the finals, Shai's going to have a minimum of 25, and J-Dub's going to have to score like 60 for me to give it to him over that. Like, if he just scores, he has another 40 piece. Shai has 27, 8 and 8. I'm still giving it to Shai. J-Dub, those first 4 games of the series, could not shoot at all. He was shooting like 30% from the field. There was at one point a case for Alex Caruso, but that's completely disappeared. It's really Shai and nobody else if the Thunder win it. The Pacers gets interesting because Siakam has been their best player, but Tyrese Halliburton is their best player overall. And if he has a great game 7, then you could make the narrative case of him fighting through the calf injury. TJ McConnell won't win it, but I have to be honest, he has been very high up there as far as the most important players. And at times he's been the most impactful player in games, just because whether the Pacers are behind, he comes in and he brings them back in front. And, he had the terrific scoring game. If he's great in games 5, 6, and 7 to close the series and they win, you got to take a look at him. And then the guy that I think is getting completely ignored, and he also probably won't win it. But I think Andrew Nembhard, if the Pacers win this series, he has done a ridiculously great job on Shai. And I know that Shai's numbers are still awesome. Shai's still averaging 31, 5 and 5 on 47%. But if you actually watch the games and you see the matchups with Nembhard on Shai, he's not fouling him. He's forcing him to shoot inefficient shots. He's denying him the ball. If Shai, there was a time, I think it was game 5, essentially every possession, Shai was calling for a screen to get Nembhard off of him because he didn't want to be near him. And Nembhard hit the huge shot in game 1, had some big buckets in each of the last 2 games. Same thing. If he scores like 20, 25 points in game 7, he probably still won't win, but he's at least in the conversation just because he's been so influential defensively.
Yeah, I think you make the case for a lot of guys. I think when it comes down to it, they want to give it to 3 people: SGA, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Haliburton. Like that's just what it comes down to. I think they need to put another award in, like Hustle and Heart Award. Give it to the short white dude, TJ McConnell.
That's not a bad. I mean, at that point, you're kind of expanding it to like regular season, to like, offensive defensive player of the year in different terms. So I don't know if you want to do that just because it feels like that's a lot to award, but I don't hate the idea of it.
Well, you look at the Pacers, like they wouldn't be in the spot without Pascal Siakam. They also wouldn't be in the spot without Tyrese Haliburton. Like I can make the case for the Thunder that they're a one-man band. It's SGA. He is leading the charge. Like when they're winning, he's the guy. Obviously, J-Dub's been good, but on the flip side for the Pacers, like it's been a collective team effort. It has not been one guy by any means. Even TJ McConnell, they're not here without TJ McConnell. Like I can make the case for the Thunder. They're here without Alex Caruso, even though he had his big moment in the series.
So I just looked up what the finals MVP voting was for the 2018-19 finals because I wanted to know if Pascal Siakam got any votes. Kawhi Leonard got 10 of 11 first place votes, but it actually wasn't Siakam who got the other one. It was Fred VanVleet, who was great in that series. But if Siakam wins this, I mean, it would be very cool. Because when the Pacers were a very good team and they traded for Siakam, and everybody was like, that's the move to put you over the top? And maybe it was. And if it is, he's probably going to win finals MVP. He's been their best player, in my opinion.
They need to do a fan vote because I think TJ McConnell would win it.
He probably would. Did you hear them chanting TJ when he checked into the game?
They love him. What a moment for him and his family. Like what a moment for a guy like that. Just a grinder. That's what they call the short white dudes in the NBA. And the WNBA, his sister's playing over there too. So
also cold-blooded of Rick Carlisle, Benedict Matherin's birthday was yesterday, and he plays in 14 minutes, his fewest minutes of the series.
What does that mean, Grant? I don't even know. Benedict Mathurin.
I've seen some people saying like Benedict Mathurin 20 plus points for plus whatever it was, like the birthday buff, let him go out there and get some buckets, and he basically didn't play.
Well, he didn't need to.
No, he didn't need to. Correct.
All right, so
Also, Rick Carlisle is the oldest coach to coach a game in NBA Finals history. Isn't that crazy?
Pretty crazy. Yeah. I would think. How old is he?
He's 65. He looks like he could be in his late 40s.
I would think somebody like a little older. I would think like 67, 68.
Yeah, especially some of those older coaches, like the guys who were in the coaching at like in the 70s and 80s, and then they didn't leave until the 2000s.
Yeah, young coaches win, I guess. That's what it comes down to.
Hubie Brown, someone like that.
How about what's his name on the sidelines last night with his kid, or on the court side? What's
Reggie Miller?
Reggie Miller having a night.
You know what? So I'm happy for Reggie because obviously he is Mr. Pacer. He was their best player. He was with them the last time they were in the finals. I'm glad that he's no longer calling games, because when we had to pretend that he didn't have bias as he was calling the Pacers games, like we all knew he wanted them to win. They
all have bias though across every single sport. I mean, like baseball, they got A-Rod, Jeter, and Big Papi calling games. Like they all have bias. Football, I mean, I think football does an actually pretty good job of keeping the bias out of it. Like even with Gronk and stuff, I mean, the Patriots suck too, but like even with Gronk and Edelman, like they do a pretty good job. Well,
they don't call games, they analyze.
No, I know, but I mean in the studio too, like even Perkins, like Kendrick Perkins, like he's got so many biases. He just hates the Boston Celtics so much. And he played for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah. There was
So
a video of somebody doing like a man on the street thing, and they were like, "Can you name the starting five of the 2008 Celtics title winning team?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, that was Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett." And they would always get to Kendrick Perkins, like, I can't remember who it is. Or they would say like, "Oh, Kendrick Perkins, that fatty he sucked." And then they would have Kendrick Perkins walk around from behind the corner, and they're like, "Hey, you want to say it to him?" It was fun. It was funny content.
no, I mean, he hates the Celtics. He hates the entire organization. He hates Tatum. He hates Brown. It's like, it's the old man by, like, that's the thing. Like Paul Pierce, he loves this new crew. Like he is all in on the new crew.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of Celtics talk, considering they're not going to be good for a while.
I blame myself for wearing the shirt. I got you. I got planted the seed.
So last thing to talk about today is Shedeur Sanders comes out, gets pinched for going 101 in a 50? What is it? Yeah, 50, I think.
50, 60, yeah.
50, 60, gets pinched for going 101. And then it comes out that he actually got pinched before for going 90 something in that same zone in Cleveland, did not learn his lesson. So he's got 2 speeding tickets before practice has even started. Pretty impressive stuff. Maybe, just maybe, this is why he did not go in the first round. Because I'll say this. What the speeding tickets are, and again, this could have been really bad. Like we could have had Henry Ruggs part 2. And I know he was going whatever, 150, 160, right? He was going much faster.
It's also fitting timing, I just want to say, because Henry Ruggs, I don't know if you saw, he was just speaking. Like he'd been released from prison to go speak at an event, and he was talking about the victim's family and all the regrets he had.
I wonder if he'll play again.
So from what I've heard, he's been training in prison. I just don't see how. That's so much time away. There's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? Like if you miss a year, you could not be if he misses 5-10 years, I feel like it's over.
He was a stud though. He could go play in the UFL. That's probably a place he could go and then maybe get a contract from there. But anyways, this to me, and again, people throw the racism comments around, and people throw the, people hate it. Like there's a lot of different ways people take this in the comment section. But this to me is entitlement. 100%. You are entitled. When you get not like one, okay, you make the mistake once. I would expect that next time you're in that 60-mile-an-hour zone, you're going 65. The second time to get pinched going faster, come on. Entitlement. This is probably one of the reasons why people didn't draft him. This goes back to the pre-draft interviews where he was, running his mouth and acting all high and mighty. And I like Shedeur. I think Shedeur is going to be a good NFL quarterback, but this is not a good start to his NFL career.
It's either entitlement or stupidity. There's no other option on the table. What, he wasn't thinking that he just got a speeding ticket? I think it would still be at the center of his mind. And the reason I say, if it's not entitlement, it is stupidity, is he has to recognize the reality of his situation. He thought he was going to be a first-round draft pick. He wasn't taken in the first, second, third, fourth. He fell to the 5th round. And he went behind Dylan Gabriel. The team that drafted him had already drafted a quarterback, and they'd already traded for a quarterback, and they'd already signed a quarterback. So they don't need you. You are fighting to keep yourself in the NFL before your journey has even really started. And it's not just that you're a rookie. It's that you play quarterback. And this isn't unfair to say, because this is true for every quarterback. You have to be a model citizen. They will pick you apart if you are not. That is the media's job. That's the coach's job, scout's job. If you play quarterback, you have to be buttoned up in every way possible. Just because you got to the NFL does not mean you crossed the finish line. You might never start a game in the NFL. You still got to prove yourself. So that's where it goes to you saying it's entitlement. Whatever the answer is, you are there essentially on a job interview. And if you're doing these things which get you in the headlines for the wrong reasons or make the team question your character, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
And that's the hard part here, because he is on a job interview and he was a 5th-round pick, but also he's probably the best quarterback on the roster. Like I'd start him over Flacco. If you want to start Flacco right away, great. And then you can work him in later. But like Flacco's not the long-term fix there. Kenny Pickett isn't. Dylan Gabriel is not. Massage Man's not going to be there long term. So like you're in a spot to be the starting quarterback this season. Like you would think you would just want to be the starting quarterback. And once you get pulled over once, it is what it is. It's not a good sign. I mean, that story didn't even get out till this story got out. But to do it a second time is entitlement. And it's unfair to your teammates because you make the decision to drive 100 miles an hour in a 60. You make that decision. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
And also, we can say it's just a harmless speeding ticket, and to an extent, it is until you get a Henry Ruggs situation, until you hit somebody, and it's no longer speeding. It's murder. It's manslaughter. Whatever the charge is, it could have been worse.
Well, look at what's his name for the Chiefs.
Rashee Rice.
Rashee Rice, Rashee Rice had the guns he played obviously this year, but he had the guns in the car. He got the big accident. Like if he kills somebody in that accident, he's never playing the NFL again.
He might never get out of prison if he runs over somebody and kills them while he has guns in the car.
But now he just got to play right away. So like it is like truthfully now again, if you get one more speeding ticket, you're probably getting locked up for a little bit. 3
yeah, it's 100 over probably, or not 100 over, but over 100. Yeah,
saying you're losing your license or something because three's crossing the line a little bit in like the cop's mind, but just selfish. I don't know. I don't think maybe teams were right about him. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like he could become this model citizen, but you're a quarterback, you're Deion's son. Draft night just went how it did for you. But again, after draft night, he throws this rager of a party. Like if I'm a team, I don't necessarily want to see that.
I saw someone say that you think going 100 when you're supposed to be going 60 is bad. I know somebody who went 144 when they were supposed to be 5. And I thought that was pretty funny, talking about his draft pick status.
That is a good. Twitter's undefeated.
Yeah.
Anyways, he should be playing for the Georgia Bulldogs.
He went on a recruiting trip there. Did you see the pictures of him?
Yeah, so it's like it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Why do you think Georgia likes to go so fast? Like, is there nothing to do in Athens, Georgia besides like race sports cars?
Yeah, so my understanding of it, first of all, it's just kind of, it's part of the culture down there. So once it's part of the culture, it gets passed on.
Car racing in the team.
Yeah, but also there's not a ton to do, which again, thing I've heard. And I guess they're just good roads for it. Like there's some straight flat roads with not much going on, and people usually go over there. So I think it's kind of a combination of those things.
You know what Kirby should do this summer as like a fun day away from like just lifting and running?
Take him to NASCAR track.
Yeah, we'll take them to one of those like drive your own like the Richard Petty driving experience, and just let them drive NASCARs around the track all day. Like that would be
get it out of their system.
Imagine that quote. He'd be like, yeah, we've had too many speeding tickets here. I know these kids like to go fast, and we're going to do it in a safe fashion. And then if anyone gets caught after this, they're done.
Maybe also put him in the car with let him do a ride along with a real race car driver. Let him take him like 210 miles an hour, just zipping around that and try to scare it out of him.
Did the tickets go up since NIL for the Georgia Bulldogs? Like since these kids got the sports cars?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Georgia Bulldogs racing team. Anyways, Georgia's going to suck this year, Grant. Sorry about that.
I mean, I guess it's not going to affect me personally, but if it does affect my girlfriend, then I'm probably going to be hearing a lot of yelling. So
I just don't know about Gunner. I don't know about Gunner. We'll see.
I don't know about Gunner either. Nobody does, from what I can tell. The Georgia fans don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get. But anyways, Grant, that was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. Make sure you guys check out WSN.com. We're presented by WSN.com. That is linked down in the bio. And also subscribe to the podcast. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll find something to talk about with the sports calendar being over.
Yes, but guys, we will, like Tanner said, we will have something. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you did enjoy. And if you're into sports betting at all, there's no better time than Game 7. Go to WSN, check it out. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.